Hey everybody, welcome. Let me have a sip of my coffee first. Hang on just a sec. I hope you have your coffee and you're ready to join me on today's project. Now today's project is going to be a little bit different. As you can see behind me, there's a box that I made previously, and I have the directions on how to make that, and I'll link that up above and down below this video. It's to make a box like this that makes a perfect gift for somebody that you know who likes to give out cards for Christmas or for birthdays or for any kind of holiday. And if they love to give out cards and you like to make cards, this is a perfect box for you to make. And again, I'll have the directions up there. Anyway, it opens up like this, and inside of it you can put like 6 of your favorite cards that you've made in 6 envelopes. These are the A2 size cards and envelopes, and they fit in here perfectly. And you can also fit even with embellishments, but you have to watch what you're doing a little bit to get them in there. So in addition to the cards and the envelopes back here, there's also a place for notes and a place for stamps, okay? And then you can even put a pen down here. So this can be like a complete little station for them. And it closes up. It's really nice and sturdy, totally made out of cardstock. This happens to be some Cricut cardstock that I bought recently, and I think it's super cute. So what I'm going to show you today is we're going to start getting cards ready for our boxes. It doesn't have to be a Christmas box. It could be any kind of box at all. Now, my plan is this. I need to practice working in Silhouette Studio software and in Cricut Design Space. I don't necessarily have to make the cards unless I'm doing the box, but I challenge you to join me. Once a week, I'm going to be putting up a new challenge. Now, these are not challenges that I've made up. They've been available on the web for a couple of years now. The ladies that started it have retired from it, and they said that we are free to use these inspirations as we'd like. So I'm going to take you to my website or my Facebook group first, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's go there, and I need to open that up. Okay, go. Okay. So we're at my Facebook group, and it's called Cutting Up with Patty Ann. Hopefully you're on Facebook, and I'll put a link for this down below for you. But this is what I want you to see. Once a week there's going to be a new sketch, and they'll be in numerical order. So this first week is the first week of December, sketch 001. And I'll just read this right quick. Hey everyone, I'm going to do this challenge myself, and I'm hoping many of you will join me. You can use Design Space software, or you can use Silhouette. For the most part, I'll be using Silhouette, but today I'm going to show how to make today's card in both Cricut Design Space and in Silhouette. Now, if you're using Cricut and you ever have any problems, let us know here. Send us a message and a picture, whatever, and we'll help you to the best of our ability. All of us here, we're a really helpful, loving group, and we all just kind of help each other. So anyway, every week there'll be a new sketch challenge, and there'll be a new post. Once you read that sketch challenge, if you have any questions about it, whether it be for Silhouette or Design Space, you post those in the comments for that sketch. Also, if you actually do that sketch, you post it in the comments below the sketch. And the reason why I'm making sure that you put it in the comments within that sketch post is so that it all stays organized and we can all kind of look at each other's stuff and answer questions and understand what's going on. So if you look down here, I've already posted in the comments for this one a sketch that I made, and it looks like this. This was paper play sketch number 1, and this is what I did with it in Silhouette. And then I did actually make the real card. You do not have to make the real card to participate. You could, if you just want to practice using Design Space or Silhouette Studio, you can just do this, make it as if you were going to make the whole thing and cut it out, and stop there and post your image by taking a screenshot. I actually did make my card, and here was my finished card. I do have to tell you that all these things were print then cut rather than actual cardstock. Those of you who follow me know I broke my ankle, and I can't get around that good, so I didn't want to hobble over there to get all my pretty cardstocks to use, or cards, papers, so I just did a print then cut. It turned out nice, but again, you do not have to actually make the card. Now we have one down here that Nancy made that's really pretty. Let's see if I can get it larger for you to see. So this is what her card looked like. And Nancy actually did not make this card either, but she did do print then cuts, and wouldn't that be a gorgeous, gorgeous cut if she were to actually make that card. So let's go back to this. So again, you know, if you want to join, you do not have to join the Facebook group. You can just join us on YouTube once a week and see what the sketch is and follow along. But I'd really love it if you joined our Facebook group and were able to put your sketches underneath here. So I'm hoping there'll be a few more in here today. I just posted this yesterday. So let's go now to Cricut Design Space. Okay, here we are in Cricut Design Space, and I have one to show you that I've already made, and I'm going to show you how fast and easy it is to do this in Cricut Design Space if you're trying to make a card. And this is our very first one, so I hope you'll stay with me and we'll learn lots of stuff together as we go through lots and lots of these. So the first thing that I would do is I would come over here to the shape tool and grab a square. Now the square, I need to unlock it. What this original square is going to represent is the back of our card, or our card front, I should call it. Okay, so in other words, this card would actually be twice as wide, and it would fold right here. So right here on this orange part is where the fold would be. So we're going to make this as if this is the half card, and we're making an A2 card. An A2 card, as you know, the front of it, or the finished size when it's folded, is 4.25 inches wide, or 4¼ inches wide, by 5.5 or 5½ inches tall. So that's what I'm going to make this piece, and that's the folded front. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to unlock the lock, and I'm going to make my width, as I said, 4.25, and hit enter. And the height of my finished folded card of an A2 size is 5.5. I always like to make A2 because I have envelopes that I get from Staples that I've shown you before that fit these perfectly. So the first thing I would do now is I would change this one to orange by coming up here and changing it to orange by clicking right here or coming over here and getting the orange. Alright, so that's the back of my card, the base of my card. There would be a fold right here. The next thing I'm going to do is put my first layer, which is this teal layer, and it's going to be 1/4 inch smaller than this piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this one and come up here to the right hand side and duplicate. So now all I have to do is to click on this one to highlight it, and then come back up here to where the measurements are. I'm going to unlock the lock again. I'm going to change this to 4 inches wide by, now if I'm going to take 1/4 inch off of 5½ inches, that's going to end up with 5.25 inches. Okay, so this piece again was 4¼ inches wide by 5.5 inches tall. And this piece is 1/4 inch smaller than this one, so it's 4 inches wide by 5¼ inches tall. And I'm going to make it teal. So I have it highlighted. I'm going to come over here to the color swatch area, click on that, and make it teal. Perfect, just like that. Okay, the next thing I'm going to make is this little circle here. And you may be wondering, well, how do you do that with that little cut off right there? There's several ways that you can do it. I'll show you one today. So all I'll do is come over to the shape tool, get a circle, and there it's drawn out already. Going to make it larger. That's just about big enough, maybe a hair bigger. There we go. And now I need this part to be chopped off right here. So how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to do that by doing this. I'm going to take that off for a second, grab my teal one, highlight it, come over here and duplicate it, and then move it over here. Then I'm going to bring my circle, I'm going to right click on my circle and say send it to the front, because I want it in front of my teal piece here so I can see. And I'm going to cut it off about right like that, I think. So to cut that all I have to do is slice it. I'm going to have 2 pieces and only 2 pieces selected. When you slice, that's all you can have, 2 pieces and only 2 pieces. So you can see it in the layers panel here. And I come way down here and I click on slice. Doesn't look like it did much, but it did exactly what we need. We can get rid of this piece by Xing it out. We can get rid of this little piece by Xing it out. And we can get rid of this piece by Xing it out. And look what we're left with, the circle with the straight edge. So I'm going to change its color by coming up here to the color swatch and make it yellow. And I can bring it right over here. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make these little rectangular boxes that fit behind here. So again, I'm going to come to the shape tool, get a square. I'm going to unlock this lock so I can drag it to whatever shape I like. And I kind of like it like that. So I'm going to make this one that orange color. You see the orange right here? I'm going to come up here and change it to orange. And I actually need another orange one, so I'm going to duplicate that. So I have 2 orange ones. And I'm going to duplicate this one more time, although I don't need a 3rd orange one because notice this is a lighter color. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this one to highlight it, come up here to the color swatch and choose a lighter orange color for it. So that's great, but we don't have the offsets around them, and we can't easily make offsets in Cricut Design Space, but we can make these extra pieces easily here. So we're going to come to the shape tool again and get another square. And actually I could have duplicated one of these and just made it bigger. Matter of fact, let's just do that. Let's grab this one, come up here and duplicate it, and I'm going to change its color to white. Okay, and now I'm going to make it larger. So I'm not sure how much larger I want to make it, but I want it to fit behind like it is on these. So I'm going to right click on this and say send it to the back. Now they're kind of kooky looking, so what I could do is grab both of these and come up here to the align tool and say align center. And we'll see if we like that. And I like that a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on the white part. Make sure over here in the layers panel I have selected what I want selected. And I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to duplicate it again because I need it to go behind each of these. So I'm going to right click on this one, send to back, right click on this one and send it to the back. Now I can put them behind each of these. And again I can grab these 2 and come up here to align, center, and grab these 2 and align, center. Okay, so then now the only other thing I want to do is actually I would probably group these. So let's go ahead and grab these 2 and group. Okay, sometimes group works if you right click and sometimes not. I don't think it did that time because look, it still says group up here. I'm going to try. Nope, see it didn't work. I'm going to hit Control Z to go back. I'm going to grab both of these and go up here to say group. I'm going to grab both of these and go up here and group and group. All right, so now I can just bring them over here. Oh, and by the way, I do want to show you one thing. One of these I did want to have a pattern on. So let me ungroup this for a second and show you how you would do that. Right now my pattern is not working for some reason, but if you wanted to use a pattern and yours is working, all that you need to do is click on this item that you're going to put a pattern in, come up here to where it says fill. Right now it says new fill. I'm going to change that to say print. And I'm going to click on this color swatch because I don't want it to print orange. And right here it says print type. I can change the print type to a pattern. And then I can choose one of these patterns. And ordinarily it would put it right in there for me. But as I said, mine's not working right now. See, something's happened. It can't insert the pattern. Not sure why. So I'm just going to go ahead and make this not be print, no fill. I'm going to change it back to orange. and put these two back together. But that's how you put the pattern in if you would want to. And perhaps yours is working. For some reason mine is not. So I'm just gonna, I aligned those, and now I'm gonna grab them both and come up here and group. Okay, so now I can put this one, I can rotate it. I could hold down my shift key so it rotates nicely. Put it here where I want it to be basically. That one's there. Then I can bring this one over by rotating it a bit and putting it over here like that. Okay, the only thing left I have to do is to bring my yellow piece out front. I'm going to click on the yellow piece, and I know I have it selected by looking over here in the layers panel. So then I can just come up here to arrange, send to the front, and there it is. That's done just like that. So it's pretty easy in Design Space to do this. Now if you want to go ahead and make it, let's get rid of this one, my first sample, delete. All we would need to do is go over here to make it, and Cricut Design Space puts each color on its own mat perfectly, just like this. Easy peasy. You have to, you won't be able to put different colors on the mat unless the different colors are the same material type. And I'll explain that to you in a later video. But right now, this is easy peasy, just getting started, just learning how to begin manipulating in Design Space. Easy as that. Now we're going to go into Silhouette. I have the same thing right here ready to go. Okay, so all I would do again here in Silhouette is come over here to the drawing tools and get a rectangle. And again, I'm just going to draw the base, half of the base. The fold would be right here. And as we recall, on an A2 card, the width is 4.25. Enter. And the height will be 5.5, and hit enter. That's the size I always make my cards. That way I can make 2 cards out of each piece of 8.5 by 11 paper or cardstock. So I would change this into orange because that's my back paper. And now if I want to, I can duplicate this one. An easy way to duplicate in this program, hold your control key down and hit the D for duplicate. And that made an extra one just like that. Now I would change this one's color to teal by coming up here, change it to teal. And then I would also want to change its dimensions. Otherwise, it's just going to go on top of that. Excuse me, and you won't see it. So I'm going to change it by 1/4 of an inch. So the width is now going to be 4. It's 1/4 of an inch smaller. And the height is going to be 5.25. Enter. And let's stack those up. Just like that. Okay, now we need to do the circle. So I'm going to come over here again to the drawing tools and get an oval, the ellipse. In order to make it a perfect circle, I'm going to hold down my shift key and draw it. And I'm going to see if it's a good size. Yep, I like that size. Now, there's several ways to make this have a flattened edge as well. And the way I'm going to show you today is using the knife tool. The knife tool is fabulous. You'll have so much fun playing with this, but today we're just going to draw a straight line. So I have the knife tool selected here. I have outline selected and straight, and auto apply is checked. Just going to hold down my shift key and draw a line. Just like that, and it cut that piece right off. Sliced it off. That's all I need to do. I can move this over here now, and while it's highlighted, I can come up here and change its color. There we go. All right, now we need to make the 3 boxes. So again, I'm going to come to the drawing tools and get the rectangle, draw a rectangle, see if that looks like a size I like. It's all right, it'll do. I think I like this down a little bit more. You can use the arrow keys on your keyboard when you have something selected, and they move it in really fine little increments. I like the arrow keys function on this in this software. So now if I want to make an offset for this, first let me change its color to orange. And I'll go ahead and duplicate this. I might as well do it like this so you can see me do it. I'll duplicate it 2 times. So I have all 3 of my boxes. To put an offset around these boxes is quite easy. I'm just going to go ahead, click on it, come over to this little tool over here on the very right that looks like a star, and it looks like it has an offset on it. I'm going to click on that to grab it, and it's going to open the offset panel. I can click on the word offset. Now it's going to come in with rounded corners from my offset. Notice these rounded corners. I don't want my corners rounded, but actually maybe I might, because this is rounded. Maybe it'll bring the roundingness around. I think I will leave them rounded this time. I'm going to change the color to white. So let me drag this over here so you can see. So I have a rectangle and I have a white offset. But actually what I actually have are two different rectangles, just like that. And again, just like in Cricut Design Space, I can grab them both and come up here to this little centering tool and just click center. And then I can right click on them and group them. So those two are done. Now I'm going to do it again with this one. So again, I'm going to go click on it to highlight it. If my offset panel wasn't open, I'd come over to the star again, which is the offset panel, and open it. And I'm going to leave it rounded again. And I'm going to leave the distance at the default. I'm going to come up here again to the color swatch and color it white. And since I haven't moved anything, all I have to do is grab them both and say group. Okay, this one's going to come out at a right angle over here, so I'm going to hold my shift key down while I spin this around, and it'll spin perfectly. And it's a little too big, I think. I'm going to make it smaller. Let's see, move it out here. And make it smaller like that. Not sure why. Anyway, so that's that one. The last one I have to do is this one, and it's supposed to be a little different color of orange. So let me get something else, and I'll make it a little smaller as well. And I'm going to offset it. The offset panel is still open. Click offset. Come up here to the color swatch area. Change its offset color to white. And then grab everything, right click and group. And then I can twirl this around a little bit so it's going to fit right here like that. And again, we have I could make these smaller so they don't overlap so much if I wanted to, and there's other things that we could do that we'll learn about in later classes, but for now this will work. I'm going to click on my yellow circle, and I'm going to right click on it and say bring to the front, or I could click on it and come up here, and this is the bring to the front icon. You can see that little box is in the front like that. Okay, I think my circle's too big, and I think maybe these could have been a little bit bigger. And maybe spin this a little more. Anyway, we get the idea, right, of how to do this. It's pretty easy peasy. And maybe I like it down there. That's what I like. I like it down further. Okay. All right, yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, so the next thing that I could do actually is I could put another circle in here if I wanted to, and offset it and put another color in there. And it's easy to do that in this program. If I set an internal offset and I made the internal offset very big, and so maybe I actually wanted the internal offset to be a different color, like the teal, whatever. But that's not part of our plan today because that wasn't involved in our original. So we're going to cancel that offset. Okay, so that's all there is to this. Now I want to show you really quickly how easy it is if you're a newbie to get this going to be sent. What I would suggest you do if you're brand new is to break everything apart, ungroup everything, and put like colors near each other. Okay, now this is group, so I would right click and ungroup. That is by itself. There's a white guy, a whitey. I ungroup this one. Put the orange guy with, whoopsie, gotta click off and then click back on to just get the color. And then put the white one up here. I would right click on this to ungroup. Click off, click back on to get the orangey and the white. And then what I would do is, maybe if I'm brand new at this, I'd bring these orange ones up here. And I could rotate them however I need to save space. And I would go over here to send, and notice, okay, when I come in here to send, this is on fill. That means the color of the fill. And most of these things are checked. I'm going to uncheck everything. The only thing I'm going to check is what's on my actual mat right here, and that's the orange. And then I can change this to be any material I want here. Let's say it's cork sheets, okay? And then I just go to send. But of course, you know, before I would send this, I always recommend you do a test. So I always leave a little space up here in the upper left-hand corner for my test. So the first thing that I would do is I would test, especially if I was using cork sheets, to make sure that it worked right. And this test button right here would be available to me right now if my machine was on. So I would test it first, and assuming it worked perfectly, then I would cut. Then I would go back to my design and maybe get rid of these. And I'd bring my teal one up. And I could go send. And I will uncheck the orange because I'm done with that, and I'll check the teal. And I can change this to whatever material I want here, chipboard. And again, I'd probably move it over a little bit so I could do a test. Then I would cut it. Then I would go back to design. Now, if you've had some experience, what you can do is this. You can bring the yellow one over and put it maybe in the upper left-hand corner. You can put this little light orange one over in the right-hand corner. And you can put these white ones down here, wherever they fit nicely, and just twirl it around a little bit. Now, what you'll want to do is this. Kind of draw a box around this, and this will let you know, look at, it's 5.214 inches, so I'd say I'd get a piece of white that's about 6 inches, and this is 4.604, so I'd do like 6 by 5.5 probably, just to be safe, and put this here, my white on my mat in the lower left-hand corner. The yellow, if I click on that, I can tell how big that is and how big of a yellow piece I need. For the orange, I can tell how big of an orange piece I would need. Then I would go to send. I would uncheck the teal because I'm done with that. But I could now check the yellow and the light orange and the white. The only thing now that I'll need to do is this. Let's say my white is going to be copy paper, which is fine. It will pause in between there and my auto blade will adjust itself. My yellow, maybe that's plain cardstock, that's fine. Then after that, maybe this light orange is going to be some kind of vinyl. Okay, and that's fine too. So what's my machine's going to do? It's going to cut. Wait a minute. It's going to cut this, and it's going to cut this, and it's going to cut this. Okay. But, yeah. So anyway, if my machine was turned on, I could show you some more, but that is all that I can show for now. It's easy peasy. We'll continue delving into this more and more as we go through more of these sketches as time goes by. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've learned something. And if you've learned something, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. I hope you'll join us over on our Facebook group so you can also upload your pictures of what you've done and we can all enjoy and learn from each other. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon classes down below and my free classes over on my website. Again, thanks for joining me. See you all again very soon. Bye-bye.